Hello, everyone. My name is Jamison Gosselin, Vice President of Senior Living here at G5, and we are on our second piece of snackable content for understanding Google My Business during uncertain times within the senior living space. And so this piece, we're going to focus on top features and functionalities that you can be using within the GMB system. And I'm joined here by Craig Branstad, our Solutions Architect, and Blake Adkins, our SEO Associate Manager. And after this, we're going to be covering the latest news and information on Google My Business. And prior to this, we actually did a session on the what's and whys of GMB. So now turning to actual features and functionality of GMB. It truly is better than your typical 411, calling an operator and having them rattle off a bunch of information. So Blake, can you walk us through this initial information on what you would typically see on first contact of a Google My Business page?
Yeah, some of the basic features on Google My Business, of course, is going to start out with your branded name. It's also going to start out with the categories, the primary and secondary categories you choose for the listing. This one's really important. You want to make sure that you're obviously using the right categories and you're using as many categories as possible, so you're casting the widest net. So when someone performs a local search query, you're going to show up for most of those senior living search experiences. Some of the other features that are also really important, of course, is going to be making sure that you're using the right phone number, that the address is correct and USPS verified, as well as confirming that the pin placement is in the right spot as well. And then from there, you can get into a little bit of some more advanced features that I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit.
And Blake, where does this information come from? Can it be automatically fed in from another system, or is somebody putting this information in manually? How does that work?
Yeah, so here at G5, we've got a manual push almost on a nightly basis from one of our internal systems. It'll update some of that basic business information. So that's the business name, the address, the phone number, and a few other fields as well. And we do that on a nightly basis just to try and eliminate, suggested and public edits pushing through and overwriting our listings. And then from there, of course, in the actual Google My Business dashboard itself, once you officially claim and have access to the listing, that's where you can go in and manage the listing. And that's where you can update all the basic information, add photos, videos, virtual tours if you want. You can even add a business description, monitor your reviews, and a bunch of the other advanced features that are really cool.
And that's all, that back end access is provided after you've gone through the whole registration process of securing a Google My Business page, correct?
That's correct, yeah. So once we officially get the page claimed and verified, we can grant access to any user at a community. So if they want to go in there and, update information, they're more than likely to, or we can handle that here at G5.
So the other really significant piece about Google My Business now are the reviews. And can you walk us through a little bit about how the reviews work within Google My Business, Blake? And then, Craig, I'm going to be curious how this all fits into the bigger picture of G5 as well, and any agency solution that a client might use. But Blake, first start with a kind of a summary of what we see on this page and how it all works.
Yeah, so reviews are extremely crucial in terms of where you're going to rank locally in your market. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. So any Google user has the capabilities of leaving a Google review. And to actually get a review removed can be pretty difficult unless it's pretty blatantly obvious that it does break Google's quality and review guidelines. But any user can leave a review. So if you type in the branded search experience, you come to a listing like this, you can click into the reviews section, and then you can go ahead and post a review. And of course, different local authorities, different local authorities, their reviews are typically going to show higher than a user who, just logged on and created an account to leave a negative review. But reviews and reputation are arguably one of the most important aspects of Google My Business, and it really hits home and it allows you to really rank locally. So with this listing right here, you can see it's got 4.7 review star average with 27 reviews. That's exactly what you're looking for. You want to try and get reviews that are within the last 3 months, and you want the recent review sentiment to be really good. The whole point of reviews is you're trying to entice a click-through from the search engine's results page.
So it's really, so just to paraphrase what you just said, the fact is that reviews now help drive, or a big important part of feeding the SEO strategy for each community. And so as a result, what's actually important for reviews is sentiment and volume, among a few other things. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's correct. So typically in any market, you should be able to see what that baseline is. So now if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, and you type in senior living near me, you're going to get in a map pack or a view, a bunch of different Google My Business listings, and you can start to really tell, based off of where you physically made that search, and then you can really tell what listings are displayed based off of the number of reviews they have and the quality of reviews that they have.
Okay, and then the other side of it, of course, is how can I respond to reviews from Google My Business?
Yeah, so within the Google My Business dashboard, there's actually a manage reviews section to where you can go in if you're logged in into your GM or your Google account and you're an owner, and you can actually respond to any review as an owner's response. And those get published almost immediately out to the live search experiences.
And then Craig, how does reviews, overall, when people are thinking about reviews, a lot of our clients do ask, it's like, well, how can I generate the volume and the sentiment that will help drive my SEO? What are some of the things that we've been doing to help some of our clients generate that activity?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jamison. So one, I will say this is that we don't necessarily want to be going out and soliciting reviews to any platform. That can potentially get you into a little bit of trouble. But in order to create the experience to entice someone to leave a review, it's really making that human contact at first, getting to know the residents that are moving in, and if they are happy, speaking to them in person about generating a review from there. I want to focus more on the overall strategy of what reviews are, or what reviews actually do for a community, because Google is arguably the most important review platform out there. Yes, there are various other ones, Yelp and Senior Advisor, things like that. But if you listen to our first GMB snack, if you will, the what's and whys of GMB, Blake mentioned that these search engine results pages that are displaying these reviews are really your first homepage. It's the users and the potential residents' first interaction with your brand. So they're seeing those reviews. They're really understanding what it feels like to live at your community. So not only are you looking for good reviews, but we're looking for reviews that have engagement. So if someone's on there leaving a review, talking about how well their loved one has been treated at your community, people want to see the engagement of, a thank you for engaging with us, things of that nature. And on the flip side of that, we know that the world is an imperfect place and sometimes things go wrong. So that if there is a review that is less than desirable, that the community is taking the time to reach out to that person to say that we understand that the mark may have been missed, but we'd like to invite the conversation offline to see if we can't find a solution for what happened. That type of engagement is really what those prospects are looking for. They want to understand what it's like to live at this community, and that can be conveyed with how reviews are managed.
Great. And one of the next features on Google My Business is the About section. So Blake, how are clients typically using this section? It seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, this section is pretty straightforward, Jamison. The major aspect you want to use here is going to be the Google My Business description. So within that description, we want to try and make sure that we're obviously using the focus keywords where we can. We don't want to keyword stuff to a certain degree, but we want to highlight where we are, what kind of services we offer, and really just give out that main mission statement. It's also interesting on mobile, because you can see here right below the business description, there's a details, and it gives a highly rated star. So again, really hitting home the importance of reviews here.
Cool. And then the next one gets into photos and videos. So this seems like a great opportunity to showcase some really good content, visual content.
Yeah, this one is super important. I think videos and images are going to play an extremely crucial role in search in the future. We've started to really see how much energy and time that Google has really spent in images over the last year, and it's been pretty drastic. So it's really, really important that you get high quality assets taken of the community. We want to try and avoid any construction photos. Again, you can add virtual tours if you had them, as well as videos, but I think the most important thing in here is just high quality assets, and we do not want to use stock imagery. We want to make sure that we fall within Google's guidelines and that we're using the proper images.
And then some of these other features and functionality are also pretty important. Now, the update section, for example, I've seen different operators use it for promotional purposes. What else have we potentially seen in terms of these other features and functionality?
Yeah, so this is where it gets into a little bit of the more advanced Google My Business features. And this is where you can take advantage of posting events, posting updates around the business. And one of the really cool parts too is with this whole COVID-19 issue is Google My Business has prioritized a Google My Business post, and it's actually titled COVID-19. So if you have any communication or messaging directly related to the coronavirus, feel free to use that specific post type, as it will get prioritized over the other post types. But back into some of those other advanced features as well, there's now questions and answers, to where any Google user can leave a question about your business, and they can also answer a question about your business that a user has left. So that portion is extremely important. We tell our clients that, we want to try and monitor and maintain that questions and answers section as much as possible, because it's essentially free leads. If we can get in there and respond to someone who's inquiring about, a place for their mom, or potentially even jobs or careers, there's a ton of leads that are just sitting in there, and we really try and stay ahead of the curve and really monitor what's happening within that space.
Great. And then going into, you had started talking about the COVID status update opportunities that are now available as a separate standalone feature. Can you give a little bit more insight into that?
Yeah, so with the whole COVID-19 challenges that businesses are facing, especially in the senior living vertical, there is now, to speak to what I just brought up a few minutes ago, is that COVID-19 post type. As you can see with that arrow pointing out on the screenshot, there is a specific post type that will display underneath your Google My Business profile, and that post type will get prioritized up Google My Business's queue. As well as some of the other areas you want to try and really take advantage of during these difficult times is really just owning your brand. If you guys need to temporarily close down your business, there is a way to temporarily close it. I also stress to update hours of operation and really just be as transparent as possible while we fight through these difficult times.
Yeah, and then Craig, I know you've been working really closely with developing solutions with our clients, and some of these other opportunities, the virtual tours and the virtual events, how have you seen those fitting into various things?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of interesting when we think about I guess I'll use the term virtualization, if that's even a word, of our industry, through tours and video messaging, video engagement, things of that nature, which we've seen this be adopted in other industries, and senior living is just a little bit behind that in that uptick of virtual tours and virtual connections, and this has kind of brought that to the forefront with social distancing. So, if you haven't already been thinking about how you can engage either prospects and potential residents, and even just residents and their families that currently live in your communities through a virtual way, this is now a great time to review that program and put some best practices into place. And Google is really going to help you do that through some of these features that they're, I guess, releasing onto the GMB. You can really start to play around and test what it's like for your community to engage with prospects and residents from a virtual standpoint, be it tours or helping someone with the sales process.
Great, thank you guys. Our next Google My Business update will focus on what's new and changing, so stay tuned.